and welcome to The Real Deal. Now, after the hype over the Hunger Games and everybody going doolally over Divergent, young adult fiction is so hot right now. So we sent our very own hero, Amon Warman, to catch up with the director of new flick The Maze Runner, and here's what happened.
But if you want to stay here, I need to know that you're going to follow the rules.
When I read the book, I sort of visualize what's on the page in my head.
Sure.
How close is the final product to what you were visualizing when you read the book?
Good question. Pretty close. You know, there's compromises all the way through, but I have to say it's been 2 years of constant kind of refinement that just becomes what it is. So I kind of can only see now what it has become, you know?
And when you're going through the book, what aspects and attributes does a scene or passage have to have for you not to include it in? Because obviously there's an adaptation.
Yeah, usually for me it's a visual aspect of it. If I can't see it and know how to shoot it, then it's usually something's wrong, and I've got to kind of adjust it so that it's something that I can actually tangibly either hold or shoot, you know what I mean? And then sometimes it's a pacing issue where, you know, you can have lulls in story in a book that you just can't have in a movie. You know, and this movie is very much designed to start like a roller coaster and just climb to the very end where you're just set off. So, you know, anytime where there's a lull in story where it's just Thomas out running in the maze, you can't go with that basically. So we had to sometimes create little devices, like narrative devices essentially, to kind of keep the pressure on and condense ideas down. So that's usually where a lot of the changes happen. But for the most part, almost all the major scenes in the book are in the movie. And, you know, the spirit, I think, is what we hold on to and carry through. So.
And does that mean we can expect some deleted scenes then? How much footage do you think?
You know, we're a pretty small movie, you know, so we didn't shoot a lot. We shot what we needed, basically. So there aren't too many scenes that made it on the cutting room floor. We were very efficient in that way, and that's one way that you can kind of pull off a big movie for less. But there are a few little scenes that were usually cut for more pacing issues and just kind of world creation things that I would have loved to have in there, but just kind of helped. It just slowed down the movie a little too much. But yeah, there'll be a few little things on the DVD for that, and plus a really great gag reel, you know, just of all the fun we had on set too. So yeah, that'll be fun.
You mentioned earlier about what a great cast you're working with.
Yeah.
And one of the things I found really interesting about the film is that these characters, they sort of form their own society.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
That's the thing that grabbed me in the book.
And you obviously know these guys better than anyone else. If you had to pick, which actor would be able to survive a 4-month on their own?
Let's see. Honestly, I think it would be Thomas Brody Sangster.
Okay, why do you say that?
I don't know why. The guy's just cool, man. He can just kind of swim, you know, just kind of goes in and he just kind of does his thing. You know, I think everyone else would, you know, they would get sick of it pretty quickly. But, you know, I got to say that they toughened up on this movie, so maybe now they could all survive just fine, you know.
And there's so many book-to-film adaptations coming to the screen now. Is there a book that you read in your childhood that you'd like to see up on the big screen someday?
Interesting. You know, a lot of them have already kind of been made, but I always remembered Hatchet. You know, it's about this kid that kind of got into a plane crash, or My Side of the Mountain, some of those movies. And it's like, I can't really do it now because we kind of tackled it in this movie. It's about survival and those things. But, you know, I grew up on that kind of stuff. You know, I love the idea of sort of self-reliance and living off the land, essentially. But I'd have to think about that some more, actually. I'm sure there's something in there that I would love to go make.
I'm actually free later, so if you want to discuss this...
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it. One question I wanted to ask is that this is your first time feature directing. What is the best piece of advice that you were given going into this, and what have you learned about your process that you're going to take on to feature films?
It's a good question, actually. You know, it's all about the story. You know, that's really what it comes down to. It's all about the script and the story, because if the things don't work there, it doesn't work in the production, it doesn't work in the shooting, you know what I mean? And on top of that, you have to be open-minded, because these scenes, they take on a life of their own. You can't be locked in up here. You know, when you give it to an actor and you're sitting there with the camera and the scene, you know, you're trying to force it to go this way, but it wants to go this way, you have to embrace that and let it, you know, find its own kind of, you know, spirit, essentially. And so that was that was a really cool learning experience, especially in these little quiet, intimate moments, which were new to me, basically, is working with these real actors, really good actors, is letting them kind of carry these scenes and find a kind of emotional truth that, made it feel very real and grounded.
And what is the real deal on this film? Why do you think audiences are really going to love it?
Why do you think they're going to love it? I think it's because it's a really good, fun adventure. It's kind of this roller coaster ride. It's that we started from the very opening scene where we are thrown into this world without a lot of answers, and we're trying to catch up, basically. And so the momentum of the movie, I think, is a really fun one. It goes, basically, and I think what hopefully will happen is that we're challenging the audience a little bit, basically, on by the end, essentially, to come up with some of their own conclusions, and hopefully we'll get to explore those in the sequel.
I'll definitely be watching it.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Cool.